Now it's time for our weekly dose of Boys with Toys insanity. And this time, we're taking part in one of the world's greatest motorsports, drifting. Last week, Tim got behind the wheel of Toyota's GT86 and spent a lot of the review going sideways. But he may have been a little over-enthusiastic because he made a big statement. He said that it's so easy to get the back end of the GT86 out that you could possibly drift it blindfold. Now, the problem with making that sort of statement on TV is that it's only a matter of time before an eagle-eyed viewer writes in and calls you on it. So this week, Tim's been challenged to put his money where his mouth is and take this car drifting. Last week, we had the GT86, so this week it's the turn of Subaru's BRZ.
These two cars are identical in almost every respect, save the badge, and this is therefore a very fitting test. But I may have been sailing a little close to the wind with my could drift it blindfold claim. In fairness, I'd been hypothesizing when I'd said it, and I hadn't really considered whether it would be physically possible. After all, drifting is a complex motorsport that takes time, patience and skill to learn. Professional drivers, like any racing driver, take the sport very seriously, and I had no intention of insulting anyone. No, this car was easy to get sideways, but it would take someone who knew a lot more than me to really see whether the GT86 or the BRZ would ever be good enough to enter competitions.
So what we needed was a drifting school, and it didn't take long to work out that there are only a few up to the challenge. This is Learn to Drift, a driving school designed to teach the sport from start to finish. The school holds sessions at a number of venues around the country, and we caught up with them at Birmingham Wheels to see what it's all about.
All that experience will be taken, will be thrown out the window. With young JJ over there, obviously we'll be putting the experience into him, so it's going to be an interesting.
After a short briefing, it was out to the track for a few demo laps, before the public got the chance to get behind the wheel. This was my first ride in a drift car, but I'd been on many high-speed passenger rides before, so how much more spectacular could it be? Yeah! With drifting, it's not the speed that gets you. It's the precision involved and the proximity of other vehicles. Effectively, you're forcing the car into an unnatural position and holding it there by spinning your back wheels. That's fine, but when you're within touching distance of another car, the potential for things to go wrong is immense. That's what raises your blood pressure and makes drifting such a high adrenaline sport. This is one of the most extreme driving experiences you can get, and events are therefore always booked up well in advance. A day with Learn to Drift is run with military precision. For example, the pit crew is really fast. They have to be because each car can go through a set of tyres every 5 minutes. Not only are the instructors competing drift champions or former champions, they're also top-class display drivers, and that means nothing phases them. Check it out, they're really going for it. confident they can teach anyone to drift that they asked me to take the driving seat. Now, it should be mentioned that they don't usually teach under 17s on the circuit at Birmingham because there isn't a massive amount of space should things go wrong. So this was a quick taster session to teach me the very basics and for the guys to see what they had to work with. Donuts and 2 sets of tyres. Chief Instructor Andy Arnott made a startling announcement. He felt that I would be good enough to learn how to drift and invited us to join the team at Bollington Airfield for a full day behind the wheel. So we now had not one challenge, but 2. Tim's blindfold drifting and a mission to prove that a 12-year-old with 0 drift hours under his belt could learn in a day. Well, I'd had a go, but Tim had yet to get behind the wheel. So once the public was clear, Andy reluctantly handed over the keys to one of the school cars for Tim's first attempt at drifting blind. The final attempt would of course be in the BRZ, but the high-powered Nissans are far easier to learn with, so this was his starting point. No blindfold, and he soon got a feel for things. But once the lights were out, it would be a vastly different matter.
No, it didn't take long for things to go well and truly Pete Tong, as they say locally. Hit one patch of gravel when you can't see, and instantly the speed of the spin alters. So where you thought you were, you aren't, and where you hoped you would be has moved. Basically, this happens. Oh, yes, I crashed their car. This is why blindfold drifting will never evolve as a sport, people. Amazingly though, the guys didn't bat a hair. Apparently losing the occasional bumper goes with the territory.
It's usually the arm goes around the track. It's a regular occurrence. As you can see, most of the bumpers are held on by tyre wraps. So they're easy to come off and they're easy to put back on. But that's drifting for you.
Zip ties are a drifter's best friend.
So there were no casualties, beyond my pride of course. Although, determined to make sure that I didn't destroy any more cars, Andy suggested that we should reconvene at the airfield where there were less things to hit. Next day, we were on the strip at Bovingdon, and I was back in the saddle of my wounded Nissan. First business of the day, another practice lap at the top end of the runway, well away from other students, who surprisingly were sensible enough to have their eyes open. This time, all I had to worry about was a cone or two. So what could possibly go wrong? After this, we agreed that attempting to drift blindfolded was a very stupid idea and shifted our attentions back to a far more practical proposition. Could a 12-year-old with no drift experience whatsoever really learn donuts, figures of 8 and circuits in just one day with Learn to Drift?
Drifting is a fun sport. It's not complicated. It's practice. Practice makes perfect within drifting. To us it doesn't matter what type of experience you have driving, because we take whatever experience you've got into our hands, throw it out the window and teach you something new. You find that the younger the person, they're going to be less fearful, so they won't hesitate as much. You know, they sort of go with the flow, listen to the instructions and go from there. We can take someone with no driving ability whatsoever, we can get them in a car sideways.
It's true, if you want to know about a sport, ask those who compete.
Hi there, my name's James Russell. I'm an ex-EDC European Drift Championship driver.
My name's Belinda Chalice. I'm a professional drifter in the BDC.
My name's Matt Carter. I'm a professional drifter in the BDC, Super Pro and a British champion.
So what makes drifting so appealing?
I think the entry level of drifting and the low costs to start with are probably one of the biggest attractions. The fun factor versus the amount of money you have to spend to get started.
Is it hard to learn?
Listening is the hardest part. Once you learn to let go of all your past experience in driving and understand that you're learning a completely different sport, once you listen, you can learn anything.
And how do you get to be a champion?
A lot of years of hard work, really. I mean, I've been doing it for 8 years now, solid. A lot of practice days, a lot of practicing in total. Got good sponsorship back in and worked up through the ranks.
This is the toughest challenge of the series. It takes experienced drivers years to acquire enough skills to compete in the British Drift Championships, and although we're only talking about a few of the core manoeuvres, JJ's never attempted anything like this before. In fact, the poor lad can hardly see over the bonnet. Anyone can drive, some can drive fast, but very few can drive sideways. So reputations were on the line here, both JJ's and Andy's. Don't muck it up, boys.
Right, I'm about to learn how to do donuts, which should be interesting.
Good lad.
Early sessions went well, and I was soon beginning to feel a little more confident.
Turn. Whoa. Good lad. High five that one.
Andy was brilliant, and it wasn't long before I had donuts down to a fine art. Oh, this is hands-on! Next up, figures of 8.
Okay, so perfect. The cross point into the car. That's it. Straight wheel, power flat to the floor, 1 second turn. Go on, power. Good lad. Perfect. And again.
So in just half a day I'd learned donuts and figures of 8. All that remained was to complete a circuit, and the team would have succeeded in teaching me to drift.
Don't worry about the indicators.
Yeah, not so easy. This is the specially modified Nissan 200SX, and I'm going to get to drive it sideways. This was fantastic fun, although pretty hard work at times, mainly due to the fact that I couldn't see the end of the bonnet. And I narrowly avoided 2 major disasters, mowing down a cornfield and taking out a privy. That'll teach Doctor Who to park in the middle of a drift school. But Andy assured me that I shouldn't feel too badly about a couple of near misses. After all, even qualified drivers find this part tricky.
That's tricky. Yeah? High five that. Good boy.
Destroyed 2 sets of tyres.
That's 2 sets of tyres. Come on, let's go get some more.
So we took a break to get yet another set of tyres. And I soon discovered that I wasn't the only teen on site. This is Stacey. She's 15 and she drives like this. Impressive.
Meanwhile, Andy had a 10-minute break in his schedule, so we returned to the burning question of whether it would be possible to drift the BRZ whilst wearing a blindfold. The guys even had a cunning plan to make my attempt a little more colourful.
What's that then? Red-coloured snake tyres.
These are the tyres that the team use for displays and should make our drift session with Scooby's feisty little sports car something special. So, back in the driving seat, it was time to rise to the challenge. Is this car good enough to drift blindfolded?
I'm sorry about this, Subaru. I've never lost a challenge yet, and my word is my bond. If I say it can be drifted blindfold, then we're going to drift it blindfold.
Now, bearing in mind that I'd already crashed a Nissan twice attempting this, I was not feeling confident. And if I mucked this up, Subaru would not be happy at all. Still, a challenge is a challenge, no matter how insane.
Yes, I can't actually see a thing. Is the traction off?
Everything's off.
Right.
She's in play mode.
Okay, we're in. Right, here we're moving. I can't see. You would not believe how freaky this is. Right, here we go then.
Let it go. Grab it. Opposite direction. More power, more power. Let it go. Whoa.
Now, I couldn't see that. Have we hit anything?
Nope.
We didn't kill anyone?
Nope.
So there you have it, the Subaru BRZ and the Toyota GT86. So controllable in a slide that you could drift them blindfold. But don't. We did it for sheer entertainment value, but this is one trick that you should definitely not try at home.
So does that count as drifting blindfold?
It counts as being a retard.
He's right, you know.
Anyway, Andy had to get back to work. After all, there was still one challenge remaining. Could Learn to Drift take a 12-year-old from zero to hero in just one day?
We were now well into the afternoon, so the pressure was well and truly on. We practiced. I failed.
Unlucky.
We practiced. I spun. We practiced. I killed the cone. Then, just like that, I got it. Drifting is something that you feel as much as learn, and once you've got it, things drop into place. around the course. Not exceptionally well, but Andy and his team had succeeded. At the age of 12, I could drift. An action-packed day on the airfield had seen me destroy 11 sets of tyres, mow down 3 cones, and clock up a whopping 6 hours behind the wheel. I'd been around in circles more times than the pleb gate route and thrashed the car to within an inch of its life, but it had all been worth it.
So we'd done it, we'd succeeded in both challenges, but one question still remained. Would the BRZ or the GT86 ever be good enough to be considered a true drift car?
It's one of them that you'd buy for your wife, I think.
But would you buy it for your wife if she liked drifting?
You can't buy her a Skyline or a 200 SX. But let's put it up against one and find out.
Piloting the specially prepped school cars will be former BDC Super Pro champion Matt Carter, so this should be the ultimate test of the BRZ's ability to drift in tandem.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, with it being an NA, it is a little bit underpowered. Obviously, Subaru need to bring out a turbo version. Apart from that, she handles lovely. I think if you found a turbocharged version of this, you know, somebody sooner or later will get hold of one and put it through the BDC, British Drift Championships. But we need probably double the horses that they've got under the bonnet now.
So, our verdict? Well, as I'd thought, the BRZ and the GT86 are good. The chassis is excellent and it's so well balanced that it's great all-round fun. But to really hit the spot, these cars need a better set of lungs. So go on, Subaru and Toyota, give the world what it really needs. A turbocharged or a supercharged version of this car.
But in all the excitement, Tim had missed one very big fact. The boys had long since destroyed the last set of display tyres. That meant that for the last 2 laps, our test car had been running on its original set of Michelins. So Tim was in for a shock.
We don't need a tyre, John.
Do we break another one? Oh no! Man, this means I'm going to be walking home!
Yep, as the Americans would say, payback's a small furry female mongrel.
Smooth as a baby's backside, mate! I mean,
That'll be alright.
Might need a quick fit or something down the road. Oops.
Fortunately, the Learn to Drift guys are a brilliant bunch though, and after winding us up for half an hour or so, they kindly found us a new set of boots to get us home. So if you fancy learning to drift with a really fun team, you can get in touch at www.learn2drift.com.